Right then, continuing in the Terminator series of videos, I have a highly requested topic today, and that is the T-X, or the Terminatrix. Now, in terms of canon, this particular model does not sit clear-cut. And of course, James Cameron's sequel to Terminator 2 Judgment Day will officially pretty much wipe everything else from canon moving forwards, so please do bear that in mind. However, with that being said, let's discuss, break it down, and you can then share your thoughts in the comment section. The T-X is of course an advanced model of the Terminator. This succeeded the T-950 and it was produced by Skynet in an alternate timeline created from the first attempted assassination of John Connor. One of these particular units was dispatched by Skynet into the past in order to terminate John Connor, his lieutenants and other Terminators, while ensuring no one in CRS could shut down Skynet during its activation, thus protecting itself into the future. With the success of the Mimetic polyalloy T-1000 series, Skynet continued to develop its liquid metal technology. Of course, we know from the previous video that the T-1000 was a prototype and not a Terminator model that was put into serious production. However, the Mimetic polyalloy was so successful that Skynet decided to utilize it once more, this time combining it with an advanced endoskeleton, which originated from the T-900. The resultant T-X was stronger, faster, and more intelligent, and could be considered the deadliest of any of the Skynet's previous battle units, effectively rendering them redundant. However, its infiltration abilities, whilst impressive, were inferior to the T-800s as they lack the living tissue. The ability to sweat and bleed, and also the emotional capabilities that the T-X had, were incredibly lacking. However, they did have shapeshifting ability, but it was only useful to a point. While of course a Terminator that was bleeding or possessed scars was more likely to be mistaken for an actual human. In terms of its technology, the T-X series had an advanced utilitarian battle chassis, weighing in excess of 150 kilos. This is of course approximately 330 pounds. This was then protected by a malleable, crystalline ceramic armour interlaced with nanofibers of carbon and titanium. The T-X was practically unstoppable on the battlefield, capable of sustaining vast amounts of damage with little to no effect. The T-X was extremely strong and agile. It was capable of moving its joints in ways that would be impossible for any human to do, and it was aided by artificial liquid steel lubrication. Each joint had a massive degree of rotation, and the neck itself was capable of 360-degree rotation. The torso, as well, was capable of at least 180-degree rotation. The enhanced joints also show little to no wear or degradation when moving at high speeds, allowing the T-X series to run at speeds in excess of 80 km per hour for brief periods of time before its power packs began to show slight decline. The T-X series was capable of easily crushing a human spinal column with just 2 fingers, and its thighs can crush with a pressure greater than any industrial hydraulic press. Its steel jaws and alloy teeth were harder than industrial diamonds, and they could crush and cut through titanium, let alone human flesh and bone. Like the earlier Series 1000, the Series T-X utilized a mimetic polyalloy. However, whereas the Series 1000 was constructed entirely from this liquid metal, the T-X series only had a liquid metal outer sheath covering its endoskeleton for infiltration purposes. This of course gave the T-1000 an advantage in terms of regeneration. Like the T-1000 before it, the T-X could take the form of any human it touched, typically terminating the subject upon reproduction, thus not running the risk of body doubles. The T-X seemed to be able to mimic targets it sees as well, and this is seen when the T-X increases its bust size seen from a billboard, effectively confusing an LA patrolman. The mimetic polyalloy was stored within small reservoirs in the cranial casing of the T-X, when in its endoskeleton form. Not only did this aid its infiltration, but it also adds strength to the overall armour of the T-X series. In terms of weaponry, the T-X was fitted with onboard systems, the first infiltrator class, in fact, to house advanced weaponry, each located within a reconfigurable arm. This was underneath the mimetic polyalloy outer sheath. Within its vast internal arsenal, the T-X possessed many different weapons and tools for different missions, similar to a Swiss Army knife. Though it possessed many forms of inbuilt weapons, the primary weapon of the T-X series is the plasma cannon. When deploying this weapon, the outer liquid metal sheath of the T-X peels back from the right arm, and the arm reconfigures into the plasma cannon structure. An electric blue aura forms and intensifies around it as it charges. When fired, a tremendous burst of raw energy, 25 to 30 millimeters in diameter, is shot from the cannon. The plasma charge is strong enough that the T-X was able to destroy a T-1002 unit with a single blast. Thus the reason it is its preferred weapon. After each shot, the weapon's power cells have to recharge, and the tiny plasma fusion generator in the chest cavity of the T-X taking just seconds to replace large power losses. Aside from the plasma cannon, the T-X could also form numerous other weapons, some of which are the following: a flamethrower, automatic stopper, cascader, M41 pulse rifle, bioblaster, needler, and EMP generator. Another of its onboard arsenal, used primarily by the T-X series, is its nanotechnological transjectors. By retracting the mimetic polyalloy skin from the index finger of the right hand, a 1.6mm diameter titanium alloy drill bit can emerge from the fingertip. This is then used to drill into the casing of any electronic system, and a narrow blue aura flows through the tiny drill bit, transferring a tiny stream of nanobots into the system. In a matter of milliseconds, a T-X can connect with the electronic system and reprogram it, controlling it by direct link or ultra-high frequency contact via a downlink with military communications satellites under Skynet's control. In this way, a T-X can take control of any machine, including such things as electronic locks, automobiles, or even other battle units. If it chooses to take over another battle unit such as a T-850, the T-X can corrupt the other Terminator systems, leaving its CPU intact but unable to control its other functions. Though the T-850 is shown to be able to crash its own systems and reset itself to regain full control. So this may be a way the T-850 can regain its form of consciousness. Not just weapons, the T-X series is equipped with advanced sensor packages to aid in human identification and termination. These include infrared systems used to pick up heat signatures and facial recognition and retina scanning systems. The T-X is also capable of analyzing DNA by sampling a small quantity of its target's blood using sensors housed within its mouth. The T-X series can access database computers wirelessly via phone lines by emitting a series of 11 beep tones, creating an audible connection using its voice processing unit. The T-X's internal communication circuitry also allows radio signals to be broadcast on any frequency, and an onboard navigational system automatically merges with Skynet systems in the area, creating a complete map system which can be displayed on the T-X's heads-up display. For safety purposes, the T-X possesses internal diagnosis circuits and the ability to shunt delicate control circuits to protected areas if a massive voltage is incurred. The T-X also appears to possess a limited emotional range, which I stated at the start, which it exhibits even when it is by itself. However, it does also seem to exhibit a form of satisfaction when it smirks after seemingly losing the T-850, and it appears to exhibit a fear response just before the T-850 finally terminates it with one of its hydrogen cores. Although not clear-cut in canon, the T-X is the only machine to make feral growling noises when angered or frustrated. In terms of its weaknesses, it is made of metal like any other series of Terminators, so the T-X can temporarily be incapacitated with an extremely intense magnetic field. However, it is less vulnerable to an overcurrent. Like the T-800 and other endoskeleton-based units, a vehicle crashing into it at extreme velocities can cause its body to separate. These same weaknesses that the T-1000 suffered from also applies to the T-X due to its mimetic polyalloy structure. Intense heat could cause it to suffer from glitches. However, as long as its inner endoskeleton isn't affected, the T-X won't become immobile from bullet impacts and can continue to hunt the target. So guys, I want to ask you, what did you think of the T-X? It seems to be a fan favourite, to be perfectly honest. A lot of people have asked me to cover this particular model, and so hence why I'm bringing it to you now. But let me know your thoughts, because to me, and you get this when you've watched the Terminator movie with the commentary track from Arnold Schwarzenegger, it just seemed like a big joke, to be perfectly honest. Especially the bust increase scene, that one in particular. Some questionable comments were made. But guys, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. To me, it was a bit of fun. I view this movie as just a bit of fun as opposed to anything serious at all. I will be interested to see what James Cameron does moving forwards with the series, whether he uses any of these particular model ideas in his future sequel to Judgment Day, but we will have to wait and see. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. Check out all my other content. I do movie reviews, gaming videos, as well as special exclusive interviews with directors and actors. But guys, I've rambled on for too long. As always, I've been Mr. H, and I'll catch you in the next video.